for the honoree of the evening, Ms. Kirk Roberson, because I know that it's one of her many favorites. She has so many, but Evergreen is especially dedicated to a very special lady.
Had the pleasure of knowing since a teenager, someone who has committed himself to empowerment, that same commitment that I've been hearing. And if you know my mother over and over again, the mayor of the city of Oakland, Mayor Elihu Harris.
Well, thank you all very much. I'm pleased to be here in tribute to a very remarkable person and someone that I've known a long time. I first came to know Ms. Roberson through my association with her son, Robert. Robert was a student with me at California State University at Hayward, and I didn't know exactly what to make of Robert at first. Robert always went around like he was a pretentious astronaut because he wore a helmet everywhere because he rode his motorcycle. And as he roared up the hill to Cal State Hayward, I was trying to figure out what he was all about. But we became friends and ultimately joined the same fraternity. And during the course of that time, I came to know all of his family and his mother and father, and all of them have been been such a strong inspiration, a strong family unit that I've really felt I've been adopted by the Robersons and the Langs. It has been an experience that I think can best be described as one that has seen a person like Ms. Roberson be inspirational to so many people. She's given of herself in ways that perhaps can never be measured because she's worked with children. She's helped to maximize the potential of young people in every way that she can. And there are a few people who bring the level of enthusiasm and commitment that she brings to any endeavor in which she's involved. In working with young people, she has really changed the face of this community. So many young people who are now adults, who have children of their own, have not only been inspired, but in fact have been embellished with a great sense of confidence, a great sense of community, and perhaps a global vision they would not have otherwise had. Before I knew much about Africa, Ms. Roberson was insisting that I be involved in African relief. Before Trans-Africa, before any of the other organizations were created to deal with African relief, she was demanding we adopt a town that I hadn't heard of, still haven't seen, but feel very strongly linked to, nevertheless. She demanded of everyone that she knew that she felt to be appropriate and worthy that they become role models for her students. So whatever school she was at, I was at. Some people thought I was there as a student because I was there so often they figured I must not be graduating on time. It made no difference in elementary or middle school. Wherever it was, I was there, reading, talking to her students, and sharing with them some perspectives of my experiences in life. But she really is the epitome of an involved human being. From early times when I was running for political office, she was there, licking stamps, addressing envelopes, calling people, walking precincts, and sharing with them her sense of confidence in me, and that I did have the capacity to provide leadership, to make decisions in hard times, and to be able to help to improve the quality of life in our community. And I've taken that charge seriously. She told me one day I was going to be somebody, and I'm still waiting for that chance and that opportunity. But don't give up on me yet, Ms. Roberson. I'm still trying to move in the right direction. So when I ran for the State Assembly in 1978, and for each election thereafter, and when I ran for the office of mayor in 1990, Ms. Roberson and Mr. Roberson and their family were always there to assist me and to give me the opportunity to share my thoughts and wishes with this community. So it really is a distinguished pleasure, an opportunity that I have this evening to recognize her for her accomplishments, her achievements, her contributions to young people and to this community, and in fact to the world through her associations in Africa. Of all of you, know and understand how much I appreciate this woman, how much I appreciate the kind of person that she is, an exemplary educator, an exemplary mother, an exemplary friend. Jean Roberson, I'm glad to have this opportunity to declare June 11th, Jean Roberson Day in the city of Oakland. When you declare a day for someone, it normally means that everyone is going to be nice to them all day and shower them with gifts and make sure that they know how much they're appreciated, and everyone is supposed to emulate them for that day and tell their friends and their children and everybody, this is a role model. You guys be like her and make sure that you respect this person and extend them extraordinary recognition on this day. But I'm sure this is probably a typical day. Ms. Roberson went to work. So it's probably going to have to be something, the day that's going to have to be celebrated other than June 11th. We may have to have another day for Ms. Roberson in addition to today. But Ms. Roberson, I just want to tell you how much I appreciate who you are. And this day means a lot to me and really recognizing all that you are. And we can only try to have every day a Jean Roberson Day in the city of Oakland. Thank you.
It's great. Now we have another musical selection by B. Joyce McCullough. It's called Ordinary People.
Mrs. Roberson, this is especially for you. Even though you're not an ordinary ordinary person, God chooses people just like you because you're willing to do as He commands. And I know that even though you're retiring, you're going to be at Foster, I'm sure, many days during the years. We're looking forward to that. So this is especially for you. Just ordinary people, God chooses ordinary people. He chooses people just like me and you who are willing to do as He commands. God uses people who are willing to do. No matter how small you may seem to you, because little becomes much as you place it in the Master's hand. Just ordinary people. Chooses ordinary people. He chooses people just like me and you who are willing to do as He commands. He uses people who are willing to do. No matter how small you may seem to you, because little becomes much as you place it in the Master's hand. Just like that little lad who gave Jesus all he had, all the multitude was fed with the fish and loaves of bread. Now you may not have much, but when you yield it to the touch of the Master's loving hand, then you will understand how your life could never be the same. Just ordinary people. God uses ordinary people. He chooses people just like you and me who are willing to do as He commands. God uses people who are willing to do. No matter how small your role may seem to you, because little becomes much as you place it in the Master's hand. Yes, little becomes much when you place it in the Master's hand. Oh, yes, little becomes much when you place it in the Master's master's hand. Oh, yes, little becomes much as you place it in the master's hand.
As you leave, this is a special hymn.
Give us this day our daily bread. You said you would supply all our needs according to your riches. I have but to ask, and I shall receive. To go from here and share this love he gave to you, to show someone who's lost and help them find their way. The way to truth and faith, so they can be free like you. Free like you. Lord, I need your peace. Lord, I need your love. Lord, we need your joy. This
That was beautiful. Next, we're going to have our invocation from Father J. Matthews, pastor of St. Benedict's Catholic Church.
And where is Joyce? That was absolutely beautiful. That was the invocation. I want you to know that. I'm going to say a little something later, but at this time, as we proceed with our program and with our celebration this evening for Jean, we have the opportunity to invoke the name of our Heavenly Father upon each and every one of us, and in a very special way today, to shower His blessings upon Jean as she begins this new juncture in her life. A new juncture that's well deserving for anyone who has the role of teacher, has the opportunity in teaching, look towards this day when they don't necessarily have to get up in the morning and go to that classroom, but it's going to keep teachers, but I know this for a fact, teachers, when they do retire, have a sneaky way of coming back to the classroom. Tell you more about that later. And let us pray. And Father, we gather this evening in celebration of many years of accomplishment and achievement that Jean has bestowed upon so many students, their families, her co-workers, her family, and this wonderful community we come from. As she moves on in her life, and as you continue to shower your blessings upon her, enrich her as you enrich us with your joy, with your love, and with your peace. We make our prayer through you, your Son, and your Spirit, for you are our God forever and ever. Amen.
Barbara, that was so good. Are you leaving?
I did, but now I must admit, Marsha requested it for ring. Because I would have done 3 times later. Jean Roberson, you are unique. You are a person without duplication. When I first met you at Jefferson Elementary School years ago, I said to myself, she reminds me so much of my mother. And then when I got to know you, and with all of your motherly advice, so to speak, I just thought you were super, stupendous, superseded anything that I had ever imagined. As far as being a person who cares so much for others, and you do. And then when you got me to do the concert for the water well in Africa, and for the school building, you can talk anybody into anything, because you certainly did that to me. You said to me, we're trying to build this well, and these people are very poor. And Barbara, you must understand that a lot of people in the world, now these are your words, a lot of people in the world just don't have the things that we in America have. And we must do something about that. And that's when you got me to do that concert at Montclair Women's Club. And it was a success, and you did build your water well. And you left the water well and you went on to build a school. And as the song that the lady sang this evening, ordinary people, you are not an ordinary person, but God uses you in so many ways. And He has blessed you and the people who know you. Because anyone who knows Jean Roberson, that's a blessing. Because I know that I can call you at any time, night or day, and you'll be there for whatever I ask. So Jean, upon your retirement, you are getting better. And I know for a fact you will not sit still. You will be constantly more on the go than you are now. And I do want you to know, whenever you call upon me, I will be there, because you were always there when I called upon you. God bless you. I love you.
Get up, Oakland local of the American Federation of Teachers. But before I make the presentation from the executive board, I have a couple of things I'd like to say myself. I met Mrs. Roberson in 1975. I sensed that I was in the presence of an exceptional person. It's been many years since then, and she hasn't disappointed me. She has been a colleague, a comrade, a friend, and an inspiration. So when you think of Mrs. Roberson, it is easy to think of her as a child advocate. And, you know, that's true. She's astounding as a child advocate, but she's more than that also. She's a teacher unionist. She's a teacher advocate. She's an advocate for teacher empowerment. And she's a person who is an advocate for public education, who wants to build our educational system and our profession. So I'm really very proud, on behalf of the Executive Board of the Oakland Local of the American Federation of Teachers, to come here today and make you get up one more time.
Right now, we'd like to ask Sylvia Parker. She's the current president of the American Federation of Teachers.
Hello. I sat over there at my seat and had this wonderful little speech all ready to make. And Al just stole everything I was going to say, because Jean really is a wonderful person. There are people out in what I call not the real world, who seem to feel that if you are a teacher, you cannot also be active in a teachers' union and still be professional. And Jean, just by her stature, the way she carries herself, the caring that she has, not just for her students, but for teachers, and the way, under the conditions we have to work, has always been out in the forefront, pushing for the best. Because when you have the best for teachers, you also have the best for the students you're teaching. So this is an appreciation to Ruby Jean Roberson for continuous and steadfast dedication to teacher unionism, signed by myself, and also our national AFT rep, Marilyn Atkinson. Congratulations.
Now I'd like to introduce to you Marilyn Gardner, the principal of Marcus Foster Middle School.
I'm sorry, I'm talking with my mouth a little full. But I really want to say good evening to all of you, and it is indeed an honor to be part of this special occasion for a very wonderful, wonderful woman. She was really an answer to a prayer, she and another person in the room. You know, I have this open space school, and it's just ideal for team teaching. And lo and behold, I don't know where she came from out of the clear blue. I heard about these people, and we fought to get them there. And we were just so happy because she utilized and they utilized the space the way it was intended. Marcus Foster, as you know, was our superintendent, and he got the quake-safe bond passed. And this school was built in his memory, and it was different, and it's still different. And I call it the school in the inner city school, because we're off the downtown. And they were really, the team that came was really a blessing in disguise, because they came with warmth. And of course, they came with projects and programs and enthusiasm. And we were just so happy to have them aboard. And of course, the dynamo right here, very quietly, she does things, but she moves. She's a lady of action. She always amazes me because she has all these things she wants to do, and I said, oh yes, let's try it. What can I do? And just this year, she had an idea, and we weren't sure what to call it, but it's telephone mentors. She realized there were students who really needed someone to talk to, I mean, desperately. And she got her friends, her neighbors, and just all over the city to call students just to say, how are you doing? What's your homework for this week? And she saw the need, and she's that kind of person. You know, it's what a teacher is, not so much what the teacher teaches. You may teach that subject matter, but it's what you are. And she's one of those wonderful, caring, devoted, high standard, and I can't say enough about her, and that she moves in a very quiet way. She's a family kind of person. She has come in when we have cookies, we all love it, and she knows what to do. And the cakes are delicious, and we've enjoyed her very much. And I know Father Jay, you see, and we might spare her. I think he might have some ideas, but we'd like to see her around possible too. It's a privilege and honor to make this presentation on behalf of the Moms Foster staff. And I'd like the staff members who are here to please stand. I'd like to just read this. Foster School, Ruby Jean Roberson, happy retirement, 20 years. We want to thank you, and we hope that you'll enjoy the fruits of your labor.
It feels kind of awkward to refer to a priest as a homeboy. But Father J. Matthews truly fits that category. He is someone that I've been in contact with from the beginning of my time that I can remember. And I'd like to introduce Father J. Matthew, pastor of St. Benedict's Catholic Church.
They say I don't really need this thing, but I do need it today. I've been talking all day, and I have one more event to go to before the sun goes down. Sylvia, it was good to have you. Sylvia Parker is also from the same parish that we all grew up in back in the latter part of the 50s and the early 60s. She was Sylvia Calhoun then. You didn't think I remembered, huh? But I don't think an occasion like this would be complete if we didn't take a test. And the test that we're about to take will be, how many of you know where Burkina Faso is? Raise your hands. Well, those of you who raise your hands, you passed the test. But I have to honestly admit that I think that I'm always up on my geography, I'm always up on my politics, but I have to honestly admit on this occasion, true confession here, that when Jean approached me about Burkina Faso, I had the strangest look on my face. Where is Burkina Faso? And I want you to know, she certainly schooled me very quickly. She's a natural teacher. She's also a natural parent. And I think that they're not mutually exclusive, being a parent and being a teacher. And she's very fond of telling a story in relationship to me as a kid growing up in St. Benedict's Parish. And the story that she's so fond of telling is that, yes, if you look at any report card that I had when I was a student at Lockwood Elementary School and Toller Heights Elementary School, I calmed down when I got to King's Estate. But when I was in Lockwood, on all of the report cards, I got, I guess, semi-good grades. But they would always say, well, Jay is very loquacious. Now, some of you are scratching your heads and saying, now, where is that? But when I was a kid in Mass, I understand that I used to talk a lot. No. But guess who was there to make sure that I didn't talk as much as I should have or needed to? This person here. That was the teacher coming out of her. Really, it was the parent coming out of her also, but it was the real teacher coming out of her. She meant, be quiet, pay attention, you may understand and learn something. And I guess I did. I said something a little bit earlier in relationship to teachers when they retire do not fade away. They really and truly do not fade away. You will see them return to the classroom. And as Mildred just fondly said, we'd like to see her come back to Marcus Foster. But who knows, she may want to come to St. Benedict's. I have the reputation of pulling people out of retirement in the Oakland public schools and putting them in active work in the parochial schools. Some of you may know Rita Williams, who retired as a principal some years ago. She was very happy traveling, doing all those wonderful things for 3 years until I pulled her out of retirement and said, wouldn't you like to come and be my principal? 4 years later, she's still the principal there. But I think she's ready for retirement again. So, Jean, I don't want you to feel left out. I don't want you to feel lonely. There's a place for you in a classroom somewhere. But we make sure we won't go to Burkina Faso to fight. God bless you. Congratulations. A well-deserved retirement. And you're going to continue with the people that you come into contact with day in and day out, with your own family, and with the community here in Oakland that you love so dearly, that you will still be a great and positive and wonderful influence on lives to come. And don't think that you're just quitting the classroom in the middle school. You know that your classroom now has enlarged itself, and your influence will still be greatly felt and appreciated and loved in this community. God bless you.
Okay, right now we'd like for Violet Fields to come forward, some of our teachers in the school system.
Thank you. I have several things that I want to share with you about Jane Roberson. And being a teacher too, we worked together at Marcus Foster Middle School. I think pictures tell 1,000 words. And I'm going to try to draw a picture in 12 or 15 words, several pictures. I want you to fill it in. See the picture and imagine what manner of person creates this kind of situation. When 2 teaching positions opened up at Marcus Foster Middle School, we kind of shuddered.
You can't lose 2 core teachers at one time. And as Mrs. Gardner said, we were wonderfully blessed to have Kathy Baldanzi and Jane Roberson. Well, as it turns out, we got to hire them together, but we didn't get them together. And they'd been teaching the year-round school, and Kathy Baldanzi came, and she sang. And she tried to get her classroom going, but she was so sad. I mean, we kind of like this person, but why is she so blue? And as it turns out, she was very, very blue because her partner of many years, like 16 or 17 years, with whom she'd grown and teen taught,
had not yet arrived. So we were wondering, who must Miss Roberson be to be so wonderful that an adult could be this upset? Well, as it turns out, we see why. And Jane, we're going to try to take care of Kathy. We love her too, and we're going to try our hardest. I know that we can't replace you. All of us together can't replace what you've meant to her. But that's just one little picture. Here's another picture. A group of boys were sitting in my room reading to one another. I'm the art teacher. And they were reading to one another with great joy and great satisfaction and good attention. And of course, being the art teacher and also being kind of a researcher, I said, who's your teacher? Upstairs. We're in Miss Roberson's class. And I said, oh, that's good. Yes, that was really, really good. Or kids were memorizing their poems. And I said, poetry, wonderful. Who is your teacher? We have Mrs. Roberson. She makes us remember a poem every month, Miss Jane. And like the kids say, yes, that's how I But here's proof of an angel. An angel brings what God sends, right? Father, am I right? This is a true story. This is so wonderful. I woke up one morning and I was really tired. I knew I needed to get up and go to work. I sat on the edge of my bed and I said, Lord, I just want some greens. You know, when we teach, we don't have time to cook greens and all of that. You know, you go to get a hamburger. Do you know that it was second period, a child came down to my room with a brown bag and said, Mrs. James, this is from Mrs. Roberson. It was greens. It was greens. Can you imagine that? I had prayed for greens, and before 3 hours had passed, Mrs. Roberson had provided that. I knew for sure then that she was an angel. There's a counterbalance. My room is way on the far end of the school, and Mrs. Roberson's is on the other end of the school. And I'm a pretty strong teacher and get really good products from the students. And sometimes when things are feeling out of balance, I have kind of a confidence about the standard that she holds, what she brings to the students, her humor. Every morning, when you don't feel like you can do it, she has this light in her eyes and this humor and this laughter that wells up and bursts out and says, you can do it. And she does it with an authority that comes with years of experience. She's also provided, with her family, enhancement for the students. Her sons have come to school. Her husband and grandchildren have come to school. Mr. Roberson has baked cakes and stuff for us. And you know, you're a good baker. I mean, really, we just hope that we have a baby or something so Mr. Roberson can bring us a treat. Jean, from the bottom of my heart, and my husband teaches at that school too, loves Mrs. Roberson. He fell dead. I mean, he's not dead, but he was breathing. He took a nap after school and I couldn't wake him up. But anyway, but on behalf of our faculty and also Mark, we love you and congratulations and best wishes to you.
Right now, we'd like to have a former student come forward. Beatrice Spikes is here.
I wanted to just talk a little bit about Ms. Roberson as a teacher. And Ms. Roberson, as you look back on your teaching career, I wanted to share some things with you in terms of the influence that you had on me as a student of yours. I was Ms. Roberson's she was my 6th grade teacher in 1982 at Jefferson. And Ms. Roberson went far above and beyond just giving us a basic 6th grade education. She went more than, she did more than just teach us reading and math and spelling and that kind of stuff. 6th grade, I was 11 or 12 years old, and going into 6th grade at that age, our little personalities have set in, and we're going to junior high school next year, so we think we're grown. At least I thought I was grown. And so Ms. Roberson treated us like the young adults that we were on our way to becoming. She gave us a lot of responsibilities, and Ms. Roberson expected no less than perfection in completing our assignments and handling our responsibilities. She had high expectations for us. And so we learned to be mature in Ms. Roberson's class. I know going into that class, school education took on a different meaning for me because Ms. Roberson was so serious. We had to, coming in, we had to be mature. We had to learn to respect not only her, but the other adults that we interacted with. We had adults coming into our class on a regular basis from different career fields and talking to us about their jobs. And so we had got our minds in gear toward what we wanted to do in the future as far as our lives and careers that we wanted to go into. And we were expected to ask questions of those people and make comments and give our viewpoints on things. And Ms. Roberson would have rap sessions with us on a weekly basis, and she'd pull an article out the newspaper or something, or have famous quotations that we have to sit and discuss. And so we had to think in Ms. Roberson's class, and we had to give our viewpoints on things. And like I said, Ms. Roberson she expected no less than perfection from us. And she didn't have pets and favorites, and she was really consistent. Sometimes I thought Ms. Roberson was a little too consistent. But, I remember one of our assignments was that we had to, on a weekly basis, we were given so many spelling words. I think it was at least 25, and we had to write sentences for each spelling word. And each sentence had to start with a different word. And the reward at the end of the week for good behavior and completing our assignments was that on Fridays we cooked. Those who had done their assignments correctly and behaved themselves got to go on the other side of the classroom and cook, and those who didn't had to listen to a boring lecture or assignment or something. But I only missed out one time. One of my sentences, two of my sentences started with the same word. And I felt like, Ms. Roberson gonna let me buy with this. I was sitting right here for she wanted me to buy this because I'm one of her best students, and I got a little history here of good behavior and everything. Ms. Roberson did. She laughed as she strolled across to the other side and told me, "No, Beatrice, you can't go. One of your sentences started with the same word." And I felt like that was just such a simple issue. But she was fair, she was consistent, she didn't have favorites. And so from that small, very small, insignificant, seemingly incident, I learned that I can't get through life and achieve things by who I know and how good my rapport is with that person. It's about what I can do and what I can achieve on my own. And so I did learn that from that very small incident. And Ms. Roberson is always, even after I left her class, I've always kept in touch with Ms. Roberson from 6th grade on. And she's always been there to give me advice and being a really good friend. And the only regret that I have is that my little baby brother and sister didn't have the privilege and the honor and the opportunity and the advantage over everybody else for having her as their teacher. She left Jefferson before they were of age to be in her class. But another incident that I remember of Ms. Roberson being there for me is that when I graduated from the 12th grade, Ms. Roberson, I did really good in high school. And all through school, I stayed on the honor roll and achieved really well, made really good achievements academically. And so when we graduated from high school, we were really looking forward to our graduation gifts too, besides getting out of school. And I was no exception. I was sick and tired of school. I wanted to put my whole backpack in the fireplace and just burn it, and just didn't want to hear school, teacher, anything like that. And I was looking forward to my gifts. You know, because when we graduated, we wanted to get money or a new car, or some money, or clothes, or jewelry, or money. You know, money is a big thing for us at that age. And so I was in eager expectation of Ms. Roberson's gift. Because I said, I was one of her best students, and I kept in touch with her. Ms. Roberson's going to give me something really nice. You know, I know Ms. Roberson will really go out there, right? And like I said, I was really sick of school. Did not want to see another book, didn't want to hear college or anything. Let me show you Ms. Roberson gave me. Ms. Roberson gave me, and I took the gift home. And I didn't open it in the car. I went in my room, closed the door, and said, and it was heavy. And I said, this guy, look at this meat. And I narrowed it down to a jewelry box because of the size and the weight. Ms. Roberson gave me Roget's the sword. I thought you had lost your mind. I said, no, she did not get a Roget's thesaurus in dictionary form. But did you see, the book has been used very much extensively. I took a class last year, a speech class at Laney College, and the requirement was for us to have a Roget's thesaurus in dictionary form. And everybody else came with a little 50-page Roget's thesaurus paperback they put in the back of their pocket. And I have my little 600-page encyclopedia of a Roget's thesaurus in dictionary form. And I thought to myself, Miss Roberson came through again. So I want to thank you for directing my path at 12 years old. I thought it was wrong. And then when I got halfway grown at 18 years old, because this book has been a valuable asset to me at 18, it's like a second Bible for me. And I really appreciate the interest that you took in me personally. Because when I told people that I was coming to this retirement reception, my coworkers and my friends, they thought, you're a sixth grade teacher? You remember your sixth grade teacher? And so I feel privileged to have had a sixth grade teacher that I can remember and that I want to remember. And I do want to thank you for being a great teacher and a wonderful friend. We have to talk about these quotes. And so these paperclip pages, there are quotes on all these pages. So she kept these quotes in my life. So every time I get to a page quote, I'm thinking, what's that mean? And half of them I forgot, but I really appreciate the interest, like I said, that you took in me. A lot of qualities that you instilled in me that have helped me become the person that I am. Because many times people ask me why they think I'm older than I am. And they say that I'm mature for my age, but and they wonder what makes me that way. And it's not very many people can say that it's my upbringing and my parents and experiences and my sixth grade teacher.
Thank you very much. It's really appropriate, and I appreciate your words that you spoke here, because I think all of us here reflected for a moment who think teachers impacted us, and that we're who we are because of that teacher. And as a teacher, I'm sure there are, of course, a lot of you here who are educators. That's got to be very stimulating to know that there are people out there who are who they are and recognize that who they are because of you as an educator. So that was very, I appreciate your words, and I know that for myself, I have that same teacher that did that for me. Well, my mother was one of those. A teacher also, going through elementary school. Next, I'd like to introduce my sister, Marsha.
Good evening. I'd like to thank Beatrice too, and I'd also like to say that my mother is my best teacher. I was never in her classroom, but she certainly was very instrumental in my upbringing and is primarily responsible for what I am and who I am today. And all of you know by now, of course, that I am Marsha, my mother's daughter. I'm the middle child, and I'm the person who does the balancing act, but I have a very, very, very special relationship with my mother. All of her children have special relationships, but mine is especially unique because we reached some very significant milestones together. She was my parent, but we also grew up together. First of all, my mother was a late bloomer. She got her driver's license when I was in high school. So, after she got her driver's education, and she got me started. And so I was ready to get on the freeway. I said, let's go to the freeway. No, girl, I just got my license. We can't get on the freeway. We can't get on the freeway. So I said, well, I'll just be happy with driving on the side streets. And then I said, well, before I get my license, I should learn to parallel park. Oh, I can't park. But I have to say this for my mother, that even with that minimal amount of training that she gave me, I passed my driver's license test. And I don't think I've told very many people this, but I got a 70%, which is what you get. That's passed. So I was very, very favorably impressed by my mother's ability to teach and the fact that she served as my role model. So after she helped me get my driver's license, I followed her on into college. We were on the same campus together, and not only were we on the same campus together, but we took a lot of classes together. And in fact, we received our bachelor's degrees together. And my mother and I let her walk across the stage first, and I was right behind her in her shadow. But I want to back up a little bit, because not only were we on campus together, but I took a lot of classes with my mother, which is probably unusual, but I felt very attached to her. We were like sisters. And we took a number of classes together. And I can recall one, Mommy, you probably will remember this, but we took speech. And my mother registered first for this speech class. And when I got ready to register, it was closed. I said, what am I going to do? You know, because I wanted to take it with her. So I said, well, it's a requirement. I have to take this in order to graduate. So what I did was I got a Tuesday, Thursday class. Her class was Monday, Wednesday. And that worked out perfectly, because what I did, and she still credits herself for the A that I got, was I took every speech that she had researched and written, and I presented it on Tuesday. She would do it Monday, I would do it Tuesday, and we thought it was so funny. It was so funny.
I didn't know you were doing that.
I was very, very concerned, because we had different instructors, obviously, but they shared an office. And we even did, my mother did research, and she did a speech on toxoplasmosis. I don't even know if any of you know what that is, but it's a disease that cats carry, and it's airborne, and it affects pregnant women. So I was always concerned that these two instructors would talk about these two dynamite women they had in their class. These two black women. I was using all of her speeches, but I got an A. And so my mother said, well, the reason you got that A is because of all of my toiling and work and research and so forth and so on. And of course, I didn't believe that. I said, well, I'm just a native, I have a natural talent, I'm just a born speaker. Until I got to this point tonight. My brother Robert, who is behind me, said, are you gonna talk? My big brother, are you gonna talk? I said, well, does that mean I have to give a speech? He said, well, we should get up and say something. And I said, well, I don't know if I know how to write a speech. And because my mother always wrote all of my speeches, right? And I couldn't call her. I could not call her to write a speech. So what I did to kind of facilitate just getting the whole thinking process going was I took the letters in her name and came up with adjectives that I think describe her. They express how I feel, how I view her, and perhaps will give you a more broader perspective of who she is. Now, she has a real long name. It's Ruby Jean Roberson. So I'm not going to go through every letter, but what I did was she's known mostly as Jean to most people. So we will do J. Roberson, okay? And this will tell you a little bit about how I view her. And incidentally, my mother always taught me to have these little cards when I'm speaking. I got this 8.5 by 11 because you didn't do this for me. So we'll start with J. My mother, I think everyone in here knows that she is a very just person. She is very fair-minded, and Beatrice said, perhaps too consistent. But she gives everybody the benefit of the doubt. She's willing to listen, and she has instilled in all of us and in her students the importance of justice and being fair. She is truly a jewel and one who I have always held in high regard and of course will continue to. There is one of her teachers here too, Mrs. Hudson, who kind of helped me put things together, who reminded me that my mother is also very jaunty. Do you know what that means, Mommy? She does that to me all the time. She comes up with these words and these expressions and she wants me to interpret them. But she is very, Mrs. Hudson said that the other day they were going up the stairs and she said, I couldn't keep up with your mother. She just has this quick step and she's just so spry, and that's true. My mother moves very quickly, so that even though she's retiring, she is not going to join that sedentary group. She's not going to sit back and do nothing. She's going to continue to move and to move on. But now one thing I want to say too about her, and that is, and all of the kids will know this, and probably Kathy and a few others, my mother is all of these things, but she can also be, with us kids, very judgmental. Very judgmental. But you know what? That's good, because generally when she's judgmental, it has to do with morals and values and doing the right thing. So I can even appreciate her for that. But she can be very judgmental, but in the end she is truly just, and she is a jewel. And now we'll get to Roberson. Ara. She is a very responsible person. Very, very reliable. I can always count on my mother truly in a pinch. And in fact, if she lets you down, it's only because she's helping someone who needs her services more than you do. You can truly rely upon her. She is extremely reasonable. Again, she's rational, and she is very reputable, a very, very honorable person, someone we're very proud of. But then too, I have to admit that she can be a little rambunctious. I'll tell you, if she's playing dominoes with Ben, and Ben accidentally is keeping score, and he makes a mistake and puts his score on her side, she'll turn the domino table over. But at the end, though, she is a wonderful, wonderful, reasonable person, but she can be rambunctious. I don't know if any of you have seen that side of her. And let's move on to O. For O, I wrote that my mother is truly an oddity. She is a very remarkable, unusual person. She is always willing to give of herself, of her time, and of course she's always willing to give advice. Who in here has not gotten advice from my mother? But really, she's always willing to give up her time and of herself, and she is very observant. She's very, very aware of the feelings of others, and I know that she imparts in the classroom all the time the importance of being observant of others' feelings, being sensitive to others and how they feel, and I have always found that she is that way in dealing with me. She is very, very objective. At least she tries to be. She really wants to hear both sides of the story before she makes up her mind. But now, of course, as her daughter, I also know that she's very opinionated. My mother is very opinionated, and she has an opinion on everything. And her opinion is usually right. So I mean that in a favorable way. If I ask her about something, she definitely has an opinion, and I have followed in her footsteps, and she is usually correct. B is for benevolent. My mother is very, very giving. She is a very charitable person who is not only willing to give of herself, but she will give of her checkbook. And she will also, to the extent that she can, bring other people into the fold so that they will give of themselves as well. You know, and in fact, with my mother, she is really just remarkable in terms of her willingness to give. She is truly one who is beloved. But as her daughter, I have to say she can be, at times, and you know this, Mommy, she can be a little bossy. My mother can be a little bossy. In fact, you know, my mother will come, and somebody's in the background saying amen. My mother will come to my house, sometimes unannounced, and she will start saying things, or maybe this falls under judgmental. I'm not sure if this is judgmental or bossy. Oh, the kids are still up. Or, oh, their hair is not combed. Or they're still in bed. There's always something. But I know she means well, and usually she's right on the money. She's right on target. For E, I said that she is empathetic. She's a very good listener, and I should know because we talk to each other, would you say probably on the average of 2 to 3 times a day at least, except when she's out of the country. My husband is there saying 5, okay? Or 6, okay. We talk to each other all the time. She's an excellent listener. She's energetic. She's enthusiastic. And she's an environmentalist. There are some grandchildren here who will attest to that, and probably Beatrice too. She probably had you clean the school ground a couple of times. If you throw a paper wrapper on the ground, the kids can attest to this, she will give you a lecture about keeping the environment clean. And whenever you see her, if she's walking, which she does all the time, she has a bag in her hand, and it's filled with either cans or trash. My mother is truly an environmentalist, and I have to say that she's very economical. My mother is the bargains queen. She is so economical. My children are 5 and 7, and she has things for them that won't fit them until high school. If she can get a sale, and if her friend, I don't know if Bernice is in here, but she knows all about my mother trying to economize. And I'll tell you somebody else who knows about it is Faye Jacobs. I'm going to go way back, Mom. Do you remember when we were in the projects? My mother used to have ironing parties in the projects. Now, people could come to our house and iron for free because we weren't paying for the electricity. And Faye sitting right over there, they'd be in there just ironing, trying to economize. So, you know, I really, I picked up on some of that myself. And for E also, she is an escapist. My mother is truly, although she's attached to the real world and she knows what's going on, she loves to escape. And her favorite thing, she'll call me at 10 o'clock at night. Girl, that jackpot is 20 million. If I win, she starts talking about all, and here's the benevolent part. She's going to give a scholarship to this person. She's going to give something to this person. And in fact, Kathy Valdanzi, who has been just her right arm all of her teaching career, thought of the idea of putting together a lotto tree. So a number of people tonight have as gifts given my mother the jackpot, 16 million. I know you know that because you keep up with it. But we will allow you to dream a little more and escape a little longer, okay? And then, of course, she is very efficient. My mother is a very efficient person, always knows the best way and the most expeditious way to do things. For R, we're back to R again. I said that she was, of course, responsible and reasonable, but she is relentless. My mother, someone's laughing, but she is truly relentless. If she gets a hold of an idea or a concept, she will not let it go. And she will persevere. And I have to say for her, that's an excellent quality because that is how she and I came to graduate together. Because she started school, of course, like most people, when she was 18 and financially couldn't make it. Dropped out for about 20 plus years, dropped back in, got a bachelor's, her teaching credential, and her master's degree. So I would say that she is definitely relentless. She is robust. My mother has more energy. Rita and I, my sister-in-law, were talking about this the other day. This may just be her first retirement because she may take on another job. Father Jay sounds like he was offering you one. But she has more energy than I can ever muster. Just always on the go. She's strong, she's healthy, and she's hardy. She's also a rebel and a revolutionary. My mother will work to affect change, and she is very effective in any pursuit that she cares to undertake. For S, the first thing I came up with, the first adjective was spiritual. My mother is a very, very spiritual person, and she has always instilled in us the importance of prayer and having God in our lives. All of the children go to church. And I remember, I have to tell this story, Mommy, and I don't know if you remember this, but back in the 4th grade, I was taking violin. And I don't have any musical talent or skills at all. And Valley, I don't know if Valley Towns is still here, but there's Valley. She's a music teacher. Valley, we were taking violin with Mr. Heckard. I don't know if you can go back that far. She remembers. Valley could play, but I could not play. So I went to my mother and I said, please, can I just quit? Because, you know, I don't have any talents. No, Marsha, you can't quit. We're going to pray over it. Do you know, Mama, do you remember, she did a novena and I had to go with her. For those of you who are not Catholic, a novena is a spiritual ritual where for 9 days you pray. And so we prayed that I could learn to play the violin. And of course, after 9 days, I still could not play, couldn't play. But the bottom line is my mother believes in prayer, and she is truly a spiritual person and has passed that on to us. She is a self-aware person, self-confidence, and she's instilled that in us. She is, sometimes she can be scathing. I don't know if any of you have seen that side, but she will only show that side in situations where she thinks a person is deliberately trying to undercut her. And she can get into some one-upsmanship to show you just where she's coming from. My mother can be very salty at times, too. But you know what's most important is she is truly salt of the earth. My mother is truly a real person who believes in noble causes and is just a wonderful, wonderful person to know. Getting back to O. I want to get to O. We talked about the fact that she's open-minded, but I have to say she's an organizer. And anybody who knows my mother knows that she will enlist people in a minute to further a good cause. And I know just about everybody in this room has been involved in one way or another with the Dory School Fund. And I want to caution all of you to be very careful, because if you're talking to my mother about a social cause and you agree with her, she is going to organize and rally around that cause. You will either be writing a letter, you will be typing, you will be making phone calls, or you'll be writing a check. Because she's truly one who will organize. And in fact, she tried to organize this event. I said, this event is for you. Let us do the program. But she's very good at what she does. And I'm glad that she is as good as she is, because she makes a lot of things happen that wouldn't happen in the school system. And I finally come to N. And N is for a lot of things. My mother is very, very nice. And I have, it's interesting how people grow up and they have these love-hate relationships with their mothers. I never did, because my mother was always very, very nice to me. She is no nonsense, though, because I can remember growing up and no nonsense. You're going to do what I ask you to do, and you're going to do it now. And it was always what she thought was right. And I say this affectionately, but she's a little nosy. She called me, my mother called me last night at about, 10:15, 10:30? Is Quentin picking somebody up from the airport? We're trying to have at least one surprise for her, because she has been calling me to get the count, to find out how things are going with the plans. I said, what difference does it make? If somebody's coming in from out of town, I need to know. I don't know why she needs to know, but I mean that in the kindest way. My mother can sometimes become a little more involved in situations than she should, but it's always for the good of us. And lastly, she is a nurturer. My mother, I'm sure, has in one way or another nurtured everyone in this room. I don't think there's anyone who's ever come into contact with her who hasn't benefited from her advice, which she gives out very freely, and or her opinions. And I really want to say that I am truly, truly grateful and honored and proud that she's my mother.
Ditto. I'm going to have to toss what I had out because Marsha included it all. I just want to make one note, and then I'll pass this to my brother. When Cesar Chavez died, of course, recently, I realized that I hadn't had a grape since about the 6th grade, because she didn't allow us to eat grapes because of the boycott. And even
Mommy said don't talk so much.
Okay, I'm brief anyway. Everybody knows I'm brief anyway, but I just like to share this with an abundance of people. There was a time in my life where I was struggling on what I wanted to do, and I had a pretty well-paying job. I just wasn't happy. And my mother, she knew I was struggling, and she said, "Well, Kirk, you're real good with your hands." Do you remember that? Real good with your hands. And so I was always good at cutting hair. And the blessing behind my mother giving me that direction is, because my business is just flourishing, is that the spiritual food that my mother has given me, I've been able to give to people that come and sit in my chair. Do you know how many people are just suffering and crying when they sit down and they feel that they need to talk? Because of what I've been fed spiritually from my parents, my mother, I've been able to pass on. And what that is life. When you're able to give somebody encouragement, when you're able to edify somebody, you're giving them life. And I'm getting little winks, little signals, so I'm just going to make it real brief. And then my business is flourishing because people have said, "Hey, go over and get your hair cut by Kirk," because when you sit down, you feel comfortable, and he always has something positive to say. I had to sit down and say, why is my business so successful? Because when I was in barber college, it was only $4 to get your hair cut. Now the same people that go to the barber college are giving me $17 and sometimes $20 for a haircut. And that tells me that I have something valuable, and it came from that tree. I'm the fruit, and that's the tree. And I just want to pass that on. I love you, Mike. Okay, we're going to have Mom come up, or?
Yeah, I'd like to
say a few words.
Well, you know, as Mrs. Barnett said, I had my family come to the school to speak to the children and what have you. And the children always say, as Ms. Roberson's children, they sure do talk a lot. So we all do talk a lot. But hopefully we have something, to say, productive to say. But I just wanted to thank everyone tonight for coming. I'm just really flattered that everybody would come. And while I have a captive audience, I would like to thank everybody for helping out with the Burkina Faso project. I mean, everybody in here has helped, sometimes tenfold. Jill is standing up there. She's given parties opened up her house and had parties for our organization. So it's really very good. I thank you very much for coming. And I thank all the people that I've worked with, and especially Kathy Baldanzi. We have worked together. As Marsha said, I'm opinionated, and I have a lot of, whatever, and Kathy probably would attest to that. But it's just really been very good. And I won't be leaving school, but I certainly will be going back. And is Miss McCullum still here? Is she gone? Oh, yeah. But anyway, Mrs. McCullum has a project at our school. Listen, this is easy. This is easy. I want Mrs. McCullum to hear this. Because there are the children who don't have gym clothes, and they cannot get dressed for gym. So what she was planning to do is have people adopt a child and just buy a child some gym clothes. Because oftentimes, children cannot get dressed. And they need to have their gym clothes. And if they go to other schools, they will, be kind of in the tune of what they're supposed to do. And truly, if everyone would give back to the school something that they have gotten out, it would really be a big help. People talk about the children all the time, but if you will give to the children and give of yourself, things will be a lot better. Thank you again for coming, and I love you all.
I'm really pleased to see. I see a lot of faces that take me way back to the projects. I mean, over 40 years. Even though somebody asked me if I was the youngest. I'm smart of secrecy to some degree because some people don't want me to reveal their ages, so I'm going to keep quiet. But I have there's a couple of instances where my mother's had great impact on me, and I can tell you about a lot of them. But one of them in particular, and this goes back 30 years, and I think that it sort of shows some of the attributes that my sister was talking about, some of the things that you were going to see in her teaching career. And I remember we had just moved from West Oakland to East Oakland, and we were riding pretty high. We thought we had arrived. We had made a big move from the projects and bought a little house on Arthur Street. And so we had to go through the rituals of you make all the adjustments, and we had to find a new school. And I remember we had the parish that we were in, which was Father Jay's parish. He used to sit in the front. I used to sit in the back and sneak out in the middle of Mass. But St. Benedict's only went up to the 6th grade, and I was in the 8th grade, and my sister was in the 7th grade. So we had to find another school. Well, Marsha, I don't know, when you were probably 3rd grade. And so what happened was that the next parish over was St. Cyril. And so my mother called and said and asked if they had any openings, because they went up to the 8th grade. And Sister Mary Sebastian said yes, that they had some openings. And so we went over to the school. My mother took Deborah and myself over to the school. And when we got there, Sister Mary Sebastian's jaws dropped. She just literally dropped. Well, some of you who go back many years probably know what happened. My mother used her very best Caucasian accent. My mother had a hell of a Caucasian accent. But she can whip it out anytime she wants. Because Marsha mentioned the ironing parties, and I was not going to mention that to her because I wanted to keep that for myself. But the ironing parties had a very, very, very important role. I mean, first of all, you could the people who weren't fortunate enough to be in the projects, they could come and steal electricity, iron all day long because the housing authority paid the bills. Okay. So but also the women, it was sort of like a hen party. The women kind of sat around and practiced their Caucasian accent. No, it's true. So what you do is that you raise your voice a couple of octaves and clear your throat. No. This is very true. This is very true. And you could call it Caucasian, but it didn't make any difference because who was going to know the difference? But the point. Now here's the point. The point is that Sister Mary Sebastian, she said, well, we have no colored kids. We have no colored kids in the school, which is true. The school was all white. And my mother, she when she saw that accent wasn't going to get us, it I guess it shows that she's didn't hesitate to be a pioneer. You know, no problem about blazing trails, no problem about getting what she wanted, and that she was dedicated to my education, to my sister's education, and that this basically carried forth to where, through her career, which didn't happen until 15 years later. So I just want to thank everybody.
I just wanted to say something to Miss Baldanzi. I mean, Miss Baldanzi wasn't my teacher, but her and Miss Roberson worked together as a team, and I really appreciated the unity that they exhibited, and we considered ourselves as hitting double jeopardy because they were both going to get you, for that. Miss Baldanzi didn't have to be around, but if you did something wrong, Miss Roberson told her about it. It's like she came back and told you the same thing Miss Roberson just chewed you out about, and they were just so united as far as their standards and their code of discipline and everything, and I really appreciate seeing that. And Miss Baldanzi, I don't know what you're going to do now, but Miss Roberson is going to be absolutely impossible to replace. Very impossible.
Okay, would anybody else, non-family members, like to respond or say anything? Okay, we have some. Okay, we're going to have a toast.
Take her to school, bring her home tonight, part of the bond of friendship. This is a Swedish toast, and translated it means, yes, may she live 100 years. You can either come up here or stand where you're at, whatever's convenient for you.
We learned, and Mrs. Roberson helped instill in me just a sense of confidence, and she was always making us test ourselves and better ourselves, and we would always have contests with words, lists of synonyms and antonyms, and I remember we had a spelling contest, and I was always a pretty good speller, but it was like a dead heat runoff, and I misspelled theater. So instead of getting the baseball eraser, I got the green sneaker eraser. And I still have that eraser. And I kept it. And Mrs. Roberson, long after I left her class, when I graduated from Berkeley a number of years ago, she invited me back to speak to her students. And she was still teaching exactly the same way. And I was like, oh, Mrs. Roberson is a great teacher. I hope you guys really appreciate her because many of the lessons that she's teaching you you're going to need in life. And after that, I thought, oh, this is really great. And then last year, I graduated with my master's at Stanford, and Ms. Roberson came to my graduation. And it was like the happiest day. She came to my undergraduate graduation as well. And it just really meant a lot to me because she was one of my favorite teachers. But to have her come and celebrate those two important days meant a lot to me. So I was more than happy to come and celebrate this day with you.
I swore I was not going to come up here and speak because I'm not a good public speaker. I'm used to speaking to groups of children, but not adults. But I feel that I have to say something, and it is going to be hard, and I'm not going to be able to replace what we have. I said I feel like I'm getting a divorce after 20 years. Jean and I have been together since the Stonehurst 20 years ago, and we both are pack rats. And I was cleaning the house at Mark's Foster, and I came across an old lesson plan book that had never been used. And I know some people have been looking at this. And I came across pictures that started in 1974. And this book kind of, we put this all together, and it's kind of like a story of what has happened over there, at least in pictures. We can watch ourselves age for the last 20 years here. And I listened to Beatrice, and I saw Anthony here, and I see Paul. And every time I see Paul, I think of a play we did in the 5th grade. It's funny, people trigger different things, and Beatrice was always so stubborn in class. And Beatrice was always, I loved Beatrice, because Beatrice always stuck up for herself. And she spoke then the way she speaks now. She was wonderful. Paula was always up in front of the class, and it makes you feel so proud to see these kids from back then. And I know that Jean has had a big impact on them. She's had a big impact on me. When I was supposed to go to work after Erin was born, and she was six weeks old, and I called and I said, I can't come to work. Babysitter didn't show up. I had a babysitter. She says, put her in the basket, bring her to work. By that afternoon, I had a babysitter. Jean lined up a babysitter. I brought her. That's the way she's always taken care of things, and it's going to really be a big, big change for me. And I have people saying, don't worry, Kathy, we'll take care of you, we'll take care of you. But it is going to be different, and I am truly going to miss her. And I'm sure we're going to stay, and she's going to make me play the lottery until the day I die. But I will truly, it's been an incredible experience working with her. She's a very motivating person. She's taught me a lot. She's been wonderful. She's really been wonderful. And I'm the lucky person for having connected up with her 20 years ago. I appreciate it.
Are there any other comments you would like to say? Well, I want to say thank you for coming and sharing with us the celebration of my mother's career as an educator. I want to thank, of course, Kathy, by the way, if you're who cheers to Kathy for supplying the wine. Betty D for the flower arrangements and just being very, very helpful. Betty, please stand. And thank you. There are. Yes.
When you finish, I want
no, just thanks a lot. And as we conclude, I'd like you to feel comfortable. There's fruit, there's punch, and there's coffee. And have a cup of coffee and chat for a bit. And thanks for coming in. I appreciate it.
I was going to try to be quiet tonight, be peaceful and just listen, because you've all done such a wonderful job honoring Mrs. Roberson, your mother. But I have to say this because it's not that often that we run into educators who not just teach out of a book, but teach from life. And that's what's really important, what I found to be important about what Mrs. Roberson does. To teach children that everything that happens in the newspaper every day, because she still calls me and says, girl, did you see? Did you read that article? Did you? But to teach children that we must have an opinion. All of us must have an opinion about everything that happens in society with all of her students, for causing people, for motivating people to think about all of the issues in the community, in our own little communities, in the world community. And if nothing else, I have friends and colleagues who Mrs. Roberson has met at my house or at her house, and she's enlisted them to come and speak to the students so that kids know that schooling, education isn't separated from life. I know I'm saying this twice, but all of that is important for children to know. Everything that happens to us every day. And I think that's what Mrs. Roberson has taught her students. I'm sure that's what she's taught her students. And the funny thing is that all of the people who come in contact with her
feel rather nostalgic tonight. We go back so many years, so many things have happened, and we've shared so many sad and happy days together. I should never forget the many times we walked in Albany just to buy ice cream and to look at the beautiful houses that we thought we'd never have. And I remember the first time I saw you, Percy had met me on the bus and said to me, I'd like you to meet my wife. So I came down and I knocked on the door, and we've been friends for 40 years, and I wanted to tell you that I love you, and I'll always hold you close to my heart, and may God bless you.
Okay. I first met Jean about 45 years ago, and we've been friends ever since. We had so much fun together. Regardless of what happened, she's always the same. She is my dear friend. She gave Sandy her first birthday gift, and that gift was a book. And she was really nice to Sandy.
What I really like about it is the fact that she reminds me very often that she gave me my first book. Thank you, Mrs. Ruby Jean Roberson.
Now tell me, how did you guys meet? Because I want to know that. How did you meet?
Well, we moved to the projects, Cardenesis Village, and we met there. And I would stop by her house on my way from work and talk. And we used to make ice cream together, and we would share the ice cream. And I've just known Jean for many, many years. And it's just, I don't have a better friend than Jean. She is my best friend. And I mean, even though I don't see now, but she keeps me up on all of the sales. Just last night, she sent a lot of fruit over.
We met for the very first time at Jefferson Elementary School. About 1974, I guess, when you first arrived there at Jefferson Elementary School. And I know you and Kathy had Eric for fifth grade. And still today, that Eric talks about his 5th grade year. He's in college now in Atlanta, Georgia, and he's still talking about his 5th grade teachers. I really appreciate having you as one of my best friends, Jean. God bless you as we celebrate your special occasion. We will begin to walk again and do many, many more things now that we have a lot of time. God bless you, and I love you.
It's been wonderful knowing you these last 40 years. Our kids grew up together, and I remember one thing that you always said: you would rather be right than to be president. And I do believe that you meant that. Your principles are strong, and whatever you want to do, you set out to do, I know you will do it. You're going to get the school built, you're going to get the hospital built, or anything else you want to do. I know that you can do it, and I have that confidence, and you have inspired me in my life too. My name is Aslan Jones, and I work at the library in Oakland, California.
Jean, you know, we go back a long, this is Mamie Murphy, we go back a long way to the project, when Robert, I remember when Robert was a baby, and you could not go Christmas shopping that particular Christmas. I said, okay, I'll go shopping with you for you to get the baby something for Christmas, and I went. And guess what? I was telling my friend Lily, I said, I don't think you knew, but I went to Rose, and my wallet that we had made in our little neighborhood project, Unborn Calf wallet, was stolen. But I bought the baby, we got the baby's Christmas present, we got everything all together. And it's been beautiful, and our lives together have been together, woven together all these years, many of years, and it's been nice, beautiful.
Hi, this is Dick and Robin Hornung. My wife Robin is a very close friend of Kathy, who of course has taught with Jean for many, many years. And Robin, you may interrupt me anytime I come up. But I've met Jean probably 10 times over the last 3 or 4 years, and didn't really, you know, I was impressed with her as a very charming person and a nice friend. And kind of when I heard about the coming over here, I thought, yeah, I think I'd rather have gone to watch the basketball game. You know, the playoffs are on tonight. Well, I came over here tonight, and I had these speeches tonight. This is just remarkable. I mean, what a tribute to Jean. It was just amazing to listen to these people and to the teaching profession and just how important it is. I just wouldn't have missed this for anything.
And I met Jean,
Thank you, Jean.
like anybody else who's met Jean. She has a way of getting you involved and doing things. My first involvement was Jean had to have surgery and was going to be out for 6 weeks, so she talked me into getting my substitute teaching credential and subbing for her for 6 weeks. I had no experience whatsoever. I didn't know what I was doing, but she got me involved, and then after that I did quite a bit of subbing after she did come back, and I've had a lot of experiences with Jean on her trips to Reno and getting busloads of people to go for her fundraisers for Burkina Faso. And I'm like everybody else, I've learned a lot about Burkina and met the ambassador, and anyway, Jean just has a way of getting you involved, and that's how I've become involved, because I'm a friend of Kathy's, and once you meet Jean, you're a friend for life.
We're going to have a reunion. Ms. Roberson, look at your address. Let's get together. We got to have it going on. We're going to have it going on. 1970, 1990.
Ruby Jean Guilford Roberson. Jeff Matthews, your youngest sister's nephew. And I want to introduce Tina Richardson. This is a special occasion for you. I know that you've touched a lot of lives, as people have talked about this here tonight. This is a long way from Muskogee, a long way from Tallahassee, a long way from Fort Gibson, the 4 Mile Branch, Tahlequah. And for those people who don't know where those places are, they're in Oklahoma, somewhere that you know very well. This evening is for you an opportunity to honor the things that you've done in your career and also in the path of lives of people that you have touched. I want to give a special congratulations from your youngest sister, who could not be here tonight, but also had a couple of children here to represent her. For that, and a profession that really doesn't get the respect that it should in the teaching field, we want to say good luck to you, and the future holds a lot of great things for you. Thank you very much.
Mrs. Roberson, my name is Marie Cabaret, and I'm from Burkina Faso. We met in 1988. I came here in 87, and we met in 88. I'm from Burkina Faso, but I've never been to Dori, the city we're working with. And thanks to you, I've learned more about Dori being here than when I was back in my country. I want to thank you for everything you have done for people from Dori and for people from Burkina Faso. We're very grateful for everything you have done. The well you built in Burkina Faso, in Dori, and the school, and all the supplies you sent there, and all your support. I'd like to thank you. And for your friendship, for me being here. I have no family here, and you have been my family. And I'd like to thank you very much for that. I appreciate everything you have done for me and for my country. Thank you.
Phillips, and I just wanted to speak to you, Mrs. Roberson, and just tell you how much I really enjoyed actually being in your class. It was 1974 to 75 at Jefferson Elementary School. And I know one of the biggest things that you taught me, I know that a lot of teachers teach their students how to respect others. The biggest thing you taught me was how to respect myself. And I thought what was so wonderful about that was that I really had pride, for me, and basically everything that I did, I took it hard and just did it to the best of my ability. I remember one incident where I didn't get the lesson plan done correctly, and you kept me, through recess. And, I was really disappointed for not being able to go to recess, but I look back now, and it was just a lesson that I learned as far as being really persistent and working hard. And I thank you so much for that. You're one of the teachers that I will truly remember for the rest of my life. And good luck to you, and God bless.
What are you doing now?
I am currently working for a restaurant in Santa Clara. I'm a general manager. Another thing that you taught me is to really be persistent with what I wanted to do. I studied hotel and restaurant management. Got my degree at Oregon State University, and it was a thing where I was always thinking about you. Because you're partly responsible for my drive and just to really take care of business and really be the best that I could possibly be. So I thank you for that.
Listen, hello, this is Dana, your daughter-in-law, and I just want to tell you what an inspiration you've been to me. I enjoy hearing about your trials and tribulations as a teacher, and I wish that I could have been in your classroom because I know that you've done a wonderful job. I think you've done a wonderful job with your 5 children, and I know you've held them to very high standards. And I feel blessed to have married your son because I know that he has high standards, so that means that in order for me to be part of your family, I had to meet those same high standards. So that's a blessing and an honor for me to be in your family. And I think that your grandson, I want you to hold your grandsons to the same standards, and I'm going to bring them around as often as possible so that you can finish training them. Because I've got 3 wild men, and I know that you had 3 wild men and 2 young ladies. So with my 3 wild men, I think that we can turn them into civilized, upstanding citizens, if late bloomers, the same that you've done with all 5 of yours. Thank you.
We are the children. We are the ones who make a brighter day. So let's start giving. There's a choice we're making. We're saving our own lives. It's true, we'll make a better day. Just you and me. Well, send them your heart. Someone cares, and their lives will be stronger and free. As God has shown us by turning stone to bread, and so we all must lend a helping hand. We are the world. We are